Hello.
Missed you this week.
I missed you guys too.
Yeah.
I was there in spirit.
I'm exhausted.
I bet.
It was intense.
It's fun, but it's a long time. Takes a lot of energy.
Brain overload.
Mm-hmm.
Let's just get going, you guys. I'm recording this, so we'll if everyone wants to just mute for now, that'd be awesome. I'm gonna go through this pretty quick. Some good stuff. So again, these slides are for information and education purposes only. Anything discussed here is the opinion of myself, Angela Rahm, and is not to be intended to treat, diagnose, or cure anyone of anything. Being on this call, you fully agree to this statement. So let's move on past that stuff. Whoops, where am I at the beginning here? Oh, I don't want to be at the beginning. Let me just scoot through all this stuff till we get to where we need to be. I had it all set up before I started monkeying around. Okay, there we go. All right, so let's talk about where things start to break down. You know, we talked about last week how testing can be very important. We talked about, or 2 weeks ago, I should say, and we just talked about some of the effects that thyroid can cause. But let's go a little bit before thyroid maybe even becomes an issue where it's declining. Because if we're aware of some of the things and some of the reasons that can kind of predispose us into thyroid issues, you know, we're ahead of the game. So for me, one of the things that you want to understand is what about these deficiencies? Well, there's really only 2 types of deficiencies. One is it's a primary deficiency. You're just not getting it in your diet. Your diet is either it's not a good diet, or maybe it's foods you're eating that you might think are good, but maybe they just lack nutrient dense the nutrients because of our soils. The second one is you're eating all the right food. You're eating organic and non-GMO and all the things you're supposed to be doing, but you might not be absorbing it. Maybe you switched into a healthier lifestyle later in life, but all of those things you did prior to are kind of caught up to you. So you've got some gut issues. The other thing to look at is the 5 stages of nutrient deficiencies. What happens? How do we get these deficiencies? Well, the first thing is we're going to tap into our reserves. So if these 2 types of nutrient deficiencies are happening, either we're not getting it in our diet and we might not be absorbing the nutrients, the first thing the body's going to do is it's going to tap into the reserves. It's going to say, hey, I'm going to take this from here, and then hopefully the body will replenish it. And, you know, you hope and pray that that's all you need to do. The second level, though, the second stage is going to be the depletion from the body's tissues. Now we're starting to rob Peter to pay Paul, and it's affecting the lean tissue. We are definitely in trouble here. Once you get to here, it's kind of downhill unless you make some very drastic changes. So the third stage is you now have a biochemical change. This is what you're going to see when you go in and get your blood drawn or you have urine analysis. This is where they're going to start detecting things that are throwing off. And we're going to talk about that a little bit more about blood test in a few minutes here in serum test. Stage 4, now we're into functional changes. This is where we see symptoms manifesting in the body. You're achy, you've got gas, you're tired, you can't concentrate. Things you are very much aware that things are not going right. You're in a functional state of decline. Now, the 5th stage, this is where just all hell breaks loose. This is because you are in anatomical change. This is where we start to see people hunched over, a lot of skin issues. Maybe they constantly have like a skin rash and even rosacea. Maybe the tongue is highly coated with icky white coating, really, really thick. That's a lot of yeast. Maybe it's starting to you got like a black strip. I will tell you, a black tongue is what a dead person's tongue will look like. So the darker that tongue gets off of red, the more serious internal health issues are. So these are just things to kind of pay attention to, be aware of where you're at. And of course, if we're taking nutrients, we're going to be better equipped. We're also going to talk about some things that you can look at for that in a little bit too. All right, so this is kind of the in a nutshell, break it all down. Where are you on your disease to optimal health? And with thyroid, we have things with the adrenals. We have things with it could be a brain. There could be a component of brain trauma, a lot of stress, and this to me is just kind of sums it up a little bit. Are you in premature death, or are you at a high level of wellness? Or are you somewhere in between? And which way do you want to go? If you're a 4, 5, and 6, you're kind of just hanging in there, right? And I don't know about you, but I don't necessarily want to just hang in there. I want to be optimal. I want to do everything I possibly can to assure that, I am doing what I can to have that healthy longevity with my life. And I'm not constantly going to the doctors, and I'm not in pain all the time, and I sleep well, and my brain focuses. So when we start to looking, if we're at the neutral part, you start looking at the poor health, and we're looking at, you've got symptoms, you're taking medication, maybe you've had multiple surgeries, you're losing that normal function, right? Maybe even in the bowels aren't quite working right. When you move up to the 7, 8, into the 9s, you've got a good routine of regular exercise, you're on good nutrition, you're educated, you're on things like this, you're reading books, you're paying attention to people who are out there who know what they're talking about. And you have very minimal nerve interference. So you're not, like a lot of people have like the pinch stuff or twitching or eye stuff. You want to make sure nerve health is good. So it might even require some visits to a chiropractor every once in a while. And of course, we know that disease that's when it's a severe decline. You're on multiple medications, and so many people that I know, the people on this call, that we know a lot of people that are on multiple medications, and it's very unfortunate. The quality of life is just not there. They have potential to become limited in just about everything that the body does. Optimal health, on the other hand, is the development is continuous. We're active in our lifestyles. We're constantly moving, and we just feel good. So we talked about labs, and we're going to get into a little bit of the labs now, especially when it comes to thyroid. Is first of all, make sure you're getting that TPO enzyme. That's a really good one for your autoimmune, viral attacks on the body. TSH, of course, is automatic. That's sometimes all that they test, but you also want to look at T3, T4, and then remember the free ones, they have to get free from that protein that's transferring it throughout the body. So we want to make sure that we have the available free T3 and available free T4 tested as well. Of course, iron, B12, our vitamin D, our glucose, A1Cs, those are really important markers to check too. So we kind of had that arrow, both ends, disease and optimal health. This just kind of is one that shows you more for labs now. So when we get labs done, the yellow is an area that is usually not part of your conventional lab testing. You're going to have normal, and you're going to have abnormal low and abnormal high. There's not going to be this functional area there. So imagine that green is now extended into the yellow, and some of the red is extended into that yellow. It's like they forget to see, it's kind of like the 1 foot in the grave and 1 foot on a banana peel concept, if you can have that visual. It's like your level, your TSH could be 4.4, and you only have hypothyroidism at 4.5 or higher. So in essence, what's it going to take? Somebody cutting you off in traffic to put you at 4.5. Now all of a sudden you're hypothyroid. It's kind of like with diabetes. People literally have 1 foot in the grave and 1 foot on a banana peel when it comes to like diabetes, and thyroid is right up there with it. It's so undiagnosed that we have so many, especially women, but men and women walking around not knowing what is going on because they're being told that their labs are normal. And unless they're excessively high or excessively low, the doctors aren't even paying attention to them. As a matter of fact, a lot of doctors, we see a lot of clients that, their doctors make them feel like they're crazy. And it's because they're not looking at these functional low and functional high numbers. So this functional range off to the left here, I really want you to look at. If you have your cell phone, you may even want to take a picture of it or do a screenshot. These are numbers that if you're getting these labs ran for thyroid, these are the numbers, these are the ranges you want to be within. These are the numbers you want to follow. These are the number where your body functionally is operating better. One thing I want to warn you about getting labs tested, though, is there are so many things that can throw your labs off. One, it's blood. Blood, it's a snapshot in time. What you did on New Year's Eve night is going to be very different than maybe today on a Wednesday, right? So if you're going and getting blood work done the day after, New Year's Day or New Year's Eve, your body is going to be in a completely different state of stress than it normally would be. So when you go have labs, you do want to be what would be considered kind of your normal state of being. Now, if your normal state of being is excessive stress, excessive infections and all of that, then that's a good time for you to go to really see where you're at in that moment in time. However, if you just had a binge weekend and just came back from vacation, that might not be the best time for you to get your labs done. The other thing you have to take in consideration is, I don't know about you, but I do not like needles. I do not like having my blood drawn. I sit there and I cringe and I'm stressed. My daughter literally basically has a seizure. Like it's scary to watch her. She is so tense and it's so stressful to watch her go and get blood drawn. I have been with her basically like having to hold her down just to get a simple lab. But here's the problem with that too. Just that stress alone can totally throw off her lab work. And so here you have somebody who's increased stress. Here she's fine, but when she walks into the doctor's office, all of a sudden they sit her in the chair and they go to take her blood draw and she goes into like a seizure from stress. It's going to throw off that number. So when I get her numbers back, I'm very aware of this. And I'm thinking, if they're telling me she's normal, I'm thinking she might be low in something. Or she might, if they're saying she's really high, I might be like, well, yeah, because did you see the girl? So you really want to take these things into consideration when you go get labs drawn. And don't just go get labs drawn and go, okay, that's it, we're done. Because you know what? It very well could be a matter of the moment. So you want to make sure when you get your labs back, if they look really normal, maybe in 2 or 3 weeks, go get another one done. Especially if you're feeling wonky. Like if your labs are coming back completely normal, I would head back to your doctor's office a few weeks later and say, listen, I need them drawn again because I am feeling like crap. So either we're not running the right labs or just my moment in time didn't tell me what we needed to look at. So don't just think one and done is the way to go with the labs. All right. So food is a very big deal with our health. Most of us know that our food quality is depleted in nutrients, but when it comes to thyroid, there are foods like we talked about gluten last time. There's some other foods we didn't talk about though. So gluten is definitely going to have an impact on thyroid health as well as brain health, gut health, a lot of other health issues. Cutting out gluten can make you feel better. Sugar, obviously, this is just a toxic overload on the body. We really want to watch our sugar. Dairy, we know, can be very upsetting. Dairy carries a lot of hormones in it. It presents a lot of mucus in the body. We don't, as humans, have the enzymes to break down dairy. Most of us on this call, we're from Wisconsin, and, dairy's been a big part of our life. And even though you don't have a problem with dairy per se. Like you may not feel bad. Maybe you've had dairy your whole life and you've never had gut issues or bowel issues or sinus issues. It doesn't mean you don't have a dairy, and we're going to get it kind of tie this all up at the end here. Soy is a huge problem. I want to talk about soy for a moment in regards to the liver. The liver is a gatekeeper. The liver is a gatekeeper that is going to basically detox everything. And soy is just one of those things that can throw the liver into overdrive. Not to mention the chemical exposures that we are exposed to on a daily basis. It's like, I don't know, 100 and some chemicals that we're exposed to in most households every single day before you leave your house for work. Everything from detergents to soaps to shampoos to toothpaste, you name it, even carpets is just bogging down our system. But what's really interesting when it comes to the liver is how it pertains to the lymphatic system. So one interesting fact is that most weight gain is fluid retention. And that's often kind of a end result of the liver. The liver gets to a point where it just can't protect you anymore. It's in overdrive. The blood is dirty. The body's got too much coming at it. And it just kind of says, I need to take a break. So the lymphatic system has to pick up the slack, so to speak. And it becomes now the filter system. So I know in our office, we do a test where we take, like, hopefully y'all can see me, but between the wrist and the elbow, and also between the ankle and the base of the knee, you can kind of take your knuckles and you can get in here. But first I tell people, take your thumb and push. You're pushing about as hard as you can and rub up the arm. You might feel little pockets of almost like bubbles or like very squishy marbles underneath the surface of the skin that's in that lymphatic system. That is lymph congestion. You can get the top of the arm as well, but if you feel some of those, you can just kind of take your knuckles and kind of just break it up and rub upward. This can help break up some of that lymph congestion. For some of you, you might be like, ooh, that really hurts. Well, we want to break that up because the lymph is going to get bogged down. If you've had any surgery and been in the hospital, I guarantee your lymphatic system's under stress. So if the liver is a pre-fatty liver, maybe it's just a fatty liver, you might not even be an alcohol user, but the liver, we have such an issue with liver disease in this country because of the overuse of chemicals, the things that are in and on our food. So the liver it can get to be a fatty liver, it can get sluggish, it can get stagnant. Frankly, it can just get kind of stuck. Like we get stuck as people, the liver organ gets stuck as an organ as well. And you just start to feel kind of puffy, maybe bloated, sluggish. You just don't feel that great. And we know that T3 to T4 conversion, 60% of it happens where? In the liver. So liver is a really important thing. So stop eating soy. If you're eating soy, check everything. Soy lecithin is soy. MSG, that kind of stuff. Corn just completely bogs down. 99.9% of corn or 99.8% of corn that's in this country is genetically modified. And the big one, you guys, this is kind of surprising. If you think you have a serious thyroid issue, eggs could actually be causing you harm. So if you're going to eat eggs, be very careful. Don't eat them a lot or eat them all the time. And here's why. There's actually an enzyme in eggs that we talked about in the first thyroid webinar that we did. We talked about how the thyroid can be impacted desperately by like virus and cortisol and stress. Well, there's a virus called Epstein-Barr virus, and it is the one virus that attacks the thyroid, and it likes to live and lodge in the thyroid. And there's an enzyme in eggs that actually feeds Epstein-Barr virus. I'd recommend if you're having issues that relate to thyroid, go make sure. The one thing we didn't put on our test is ask to get tested for Epstein-Barr. Now, have you had, mono when you were a kid? Do you get a lot of cold sores? Are you more prone to like the herpes virus? These types of things can be kind of prerequisites for things like the Epstein-Barr virus. So don't take it lightly. I'd really recommend getting that lab ran if you're experiencing some things. All right. So as we talked about food, we just don't have quality food. In this study, it just kind of puts the little seal stamp of approval to this concept that in 1997, UCLA did a study on spinach. They knew in 1953, one bowl of spinach gave you your daily supply of iron and other important nutrients. Basically, this is about the time frame that really the recommended daily allowances for nutrients was really coming out and really big. Well, in 1953, one bowl of spinach gave you all the nutrients you needed. But what they found in 1997, by the year 2000, you would need 43 bowls of spinach to equal that one bowl. I mean, that is absolutely asinine. And we really have a problem with the nutrients in our foods. So let me go back to this. B12, we were talking about gut issues and stuff like that too. Most of your B12 is actually made in the ileum part, which is the kind of last section of the small intestine. So a lot of people who have fatigue issues, really, we've got to work on the gut as well as everything else that we're working on. So kind of, we talked about the 5 levels and the importance of getting our nutrients, through our food and digesting them and being able to absorb them. But one thing to really be aware of is what kind of goes first. And I will tell you, the adrenals are kind of the wake-up call. When the adrenals burn out, you can bet thyroid's impacted as well as other organs. And these 2 little nut-shaped things that sit above our kidneys and our back. So if you experience a lot of backaches, that might be a sign that the adrenals are really stressed. And here's just some things in relation to hypothyroid. So when the adrenals are in a hypo mode, you can't sleep. You can't stay asleep, I should say. You are craving salt. You're a slow starter in the morning and you have afternoon fatigue. Dizziness when you stand up quickly. You might get even afternoon headaches. And the headaches are, with exertion or stress, get worse, and you have weak nails. Now, somebody who is in a hyper mode, like they're just, they can't sit still, and they're just kind of, their eyes are kind of wiggied out. These people, they just can't fall asleep. They perspire easily. They're under high amounts of stress. Their weight gain when under stress. And they wake up tired even after 6 or more hours of sleep. And of course, they sweat a lot with or without any activity. So this is just kind of a little bit about adrenals. Let's talk about thyroid. So with hypothyroid, there's this first part is more related a little bit into the thyroids, but you're tired, you feel sluggish, you feel cold, maybe your hands and feet, maybe you're just cold all over. Maybe, and it's not like cold when it's like it is now. We're talking cold when it's, 70 degrees. Require excessive amounts of sleep to function properly, and increase in weight gain, even with a low-calorie diet or a really restricted diet. Hypothyroid conversion problems, you can't convert that T4 to T3. You're going to see more of these issues. So this upper part might be even more brain related, where this lower part that we're going to talk to about is in that conversion. Is the liver good? Is the gut good? Gain weight is like you look at food and you gain weight. You might have difficult or infrequent bowel movements. You always say it's like rabbit turds are showing up in the toilet. It's like that is not a good bowel movement. Depression or lack of motivation. You might have morning headaches, just this tension, and it wears off as the day goes on. And your outer third of your eyebrows begin to thin, and your hair starts to thin, hair loss, dryness of skin, and just mental, like you just can't form the mental thoughts. I know Maureen has had a lot of, she's been very vocal with her thyroid issues, and she's been in and out of all of these things. She's gone from hyper to hypo to hyper to hypo to the point where she actually was thrown into thyroid storm, and the doctors freaked out. And what they do when they freak out is they remove an organ, and they removed her thyroid. So you want to be aware of these things so you don't have that happening. Right, Maureen? All right. So what can you do about it? I love these two products, and now we just launched a DNA nutrition and fitness kit through ID Life. So anyone that is with ID Life, you can certainly just go on and order it. It is at your cost, only $174.99. There is a show pack that's available if that's something you're interested in. It includes for $3.99, you're going to get a bunch of products, the Slim Plus, which I'm going to just talk about real brief here in a moment, but you get 2 packs of the Slim Plus, which is a 30 pack. You get 30 packs of Grape Hydrate. You get 30 strips of your sleep strip. You get 20 packs of the energy drink, 10 of each flavor. You will also get some samples of Slim Energy Hydrate and the energy drink. And you get the DNA test kit. That's a $175 value right there. You also get a $100 coupon in your DNA kit, or in your DNA results that come back via email 2 weeks after the lab receives it. We have people who, they just ordered theirs yesterday and they got it in the mail today. Or no, they ordered it on Monday and they got their whole $3.99. Those are priority. So if you want all those products, if you like using them, I highly recommend. This ends Thursday night. You can just message me or call me. 608-712-8401 if you really want to figure out how to get that kit. But otherwise, you can just go on into your office as if you're going to place an order and order your DNA kit. And once it ships to you, I posted a video on my Facebook page that shows how to do it. It's very simple. And what this is going to do, it's going to cross-reference. You can actually put it into your nutrition. So you get that $100 coupon to be used with your next order of your ID Nutrition. That ID Nutrition, now you can put the results of your DNA into that assessment. And you can see here down below, we have new vitamin packs. You're going to have all of your AM in one box, all of your PM in one box. No trying to tear through those strip packs and losing vitamins in the bottom of your purse anymore. Super excited about that, or finding them all over the place on the floor. So you can do that with your assessment. We also have some essential packs for people who just want to, focus on thyroid health or cardiovascular health or other things. There's 12. They're working on a 13, which will be a prenatal pack. So those are all in the back office. There's lots of information you'll be able to find on that. And then, of course, when it comes to thyroid, the Slim Plus, it's got L-tyrosine in it. A lot of thyroid is mimicking your insulin issues. And so it's got chromium in it that help regulate your blood sugar. The L-tyrosine helps with the brain health, thyroid health, just overall health in general. L-tyrosine is super important. And then you have, of course, the prebiotic, the xyloligosaccharides that are in there, which are the fermented prebiotic to help with that gut health. We know that the gut is such an important part of thyroid. And if we can clean up the gut, the liver's not going to work so hard. So for me, this is the pack. This is the most important things that you can do for your thyroid health and health in general. If you're not feeling that great, make sure you're getting those labs and compare it to the labs that we talked about. If for some reason you didn't get that and you want those labs, just message me and I'll get them to you. I have them on my computer so I can easily send them to you. But anyway, I know it was a lot. If you guys want, you can unmute yourself if you have any questions. That's pretty much all I have as far as tonight's call. So if anybody has any questions, just unmute. Or if you just want to chat.
Thank you. That was awesome.
Pretty simple. I mean, you take the right nutrition, you drink Slim Plus, get your DNA tested. This DNA kit is really cool. The weight loss component of this is unbelievable. It's going to test your diet for your foods that you should eat, foods that you shouldn't eat based on your DNA. It's going to test what should you be doing as far as exercising. And will exercise actually help you lose weight? Laura Brandt, the president of ID Life, said she was doing everything wrong. She's dropped over 25 pounds since October. doing just what her DNA results, her test results told her to do. She was doing hardcore, like boot camp type workouts. She found out that exercise is not going to help her in weight loss. But it doesn't mean exercise is bad for her. It just means that she doesn't need to be killing herself to try to lose weight. And she found out she was allergic to dairy. Now, she has never had an issue with dairy. She can eat dairy. She feels fine. There's no issues at all. But she found out she is allergic to dairy. So she stopped eating dairy. She, Maureen, what else was it? 65% carbs she can eat. She was eating more of a protein fat, kind of a keto paleo diet. Come to find out, she needs more complex carbs. 65% of her diet a day should be made up of complex carbohydrates. I mean, I know we're all hoping that we all get the 65% carbs and we hope that we don't have to work out to lose weight. But for sure, stop guessing, right? I'm so sick of guessing and working hard at this. And she said it all happened so easy that it was effortless. It was effortless. And that is what we're going for, right?
Her legs are like sticks.
Right.
She is so thin, so
You
thin.
could tell on the videos.
Oh my
You
gosh.
could see it in her face, and
She
Well, all I can say is I wish I would have had all this information and these products available to me 4 years ago.
oh, absolutely.
20
If I
years.
could go back and undo, and it's, once they chop out organs, that's the one thing that you can't undo. So
Mm-hmm.
Well, and
I
think
can-
about our children. DNA doesn't change. Now your epigenetics can change, your environment can change how, what turns on and off. And that's the other thing, it's going to test for 37 SNPs. And those are those expressions in our DNA that based on our environment can turn on and off and make us more susceptible to things like cancer, diabetes, stress, depression, all of those things. So you're going to get that report back too. How do you metabolize fat? How do you metabolize carbohydrates and protein and all of that? I mean, I don't think I've ever been more excited about anything, like
Mm-hmm.
anything. This is very, very exciting. And to think that ID Life has it now too, makes it even more exciting.
Yeah, absolutely. We're in the right company.
In the right company and right time. But I think, Marina, even doing Slim Plus really helps thyroid. And people, when you're doing the right things, you have to remember to get tested. If you start to feel a little off, you might actually be getting too much. If you're taking a thyroid hormone replacement, you might actually be taking too much thyroid pill. So you might have to go back to your doctor and have a smaller dose. I know some people end up cutting theirs in half, and it gets expensive. And if you're taking a really good quality T4, T3 supplement or a compounding one that has both, you don't have to take as much. That's a good thing, because even those can deplete your body of certain things as well. Like DHA is really important for adrenals, but if you're on a thyroid med, you got to be careful, because a lot of times you don't want to take too much of that, because it can be contraindicative if you take too much. So that's why it's good to take your health assessment, so you know things that can be blocked, right?
Right.
That's right.
Well, I am going to stop the recording.